Hello, everybody. I'm Trevor Andershock, and we're going through another Indiana native having a great season at the collegiate level. This time we'll look at Nick Anderson. The Lake Central graduate is thriving in his first year at D1 basketball after 4 years at the D2 level. Anderson is now at Furman University in the Southern Conference. He's looking to get Furman back to the NCAA Tournament after missing it last year. Coming off a fantastic performance against Samford, the conference is a prohibitive favorite to make the NCAA tournament. They had only lost one game to East Tennessee State before the other night, losing to Furman at Furman. And Nick Anderson was a major reason why Furman walked away with that victory. Anderson finished with 24 points in the victory for Furman, but he had 17 in the first half, really getting the Paladins off to a great start and a halftime lead. Let's take a look at how Anderson performed in that first half against Samford. First, this is an out-of-bounds play from Furman. Anderson inbounds it, walks into the play, and then his teammate finds him in the corner for a three here. Classic Anderson, shoots really well, sprinting into the catch. He did this throughout high school. We'll see that later, but really good guy that does not just need to be totally set to make shots. This time, PJ Smith drives baseline. Anderson does a really good job of relocating. Does not need much time to get off the three, and he buries it early in the game to get Furman off to a hot start. And he's not just a three-point shooter. He's really efficient in the two-point range, cuts well to the basket. You'll see it cut here, finishes without being contested. And, he doesn't do a ton off the dribble, but he is very efficient from 2 and 3. Again, we'll see Anderson first half here still. Anderson gets out and runs, sprints to a spot on the left corner three. PJ Smith finds him. Deep three, NBA range three, catch and shoot, and just buries it. Very tough to defend when you're able to hit transition threes that deep at any level, but especially college. Again, here, Anderson shows off his two-point efficiency, his ability to score. Not the easiest shot. He kind of fades back into the heart of the defense here to get a better angle of the shot, and he makes it with a soft touch. So just showing his whole versatility in his shooting range, his shooting touch, that is. Here's a capper to a great first half for Anderson. Buries a three here as his defender they're playing zone. Defender kind of gets late to out to Anderson, buries it, and is fouled. That gives him 17 of the 33 points for Furman, and they're up 12 at this point. They give a bit away in the first half, and Samford ends the first half well and really comes out in the second half blitzing Furman and making it a game. I don't believe Samford ever took the lead, but they did tie it up a couple times. Anderson cooled down a little bit in the second half. Still scored 7 more points. Hit a three from the right wing. Then he hits this big one late in the shot clock, mid-shot clock. But really tough, going off the dribble, fading away over a contest. Looked like this shot would seal it for Furman, but that did not end up being the case. But still, a huge play, clutch play for Anderson, and just a fantastic game against a conference opponent. Samford entered the game 17-4. Crucial for Furman to win this one on their home court, sitting at just 4-4 in conference. They get that victory, and big thanks to Nick Anderson's play there. Let's rewind back to Nick Anderson's high school career. As a junior, he had a good season for Lake Central. Definitely put himself on the map for small colleges, mostly D3. Didn't play for a major AAU team. I think like a third or fourth tier Indiana Elite team, if I'm remembering correctly. But then he just had an incredible senior year. He was scoring about 24 points a game, I believe, for Lake Central. Not the most talented Lake Central team they've had, but he did it all. Elite shooting. Let's check out this shot chart from 12 games I took of him. 47.7% from three on 111 attempts. And that's when he was getting face guarded all game. Yes, he was, I believe, 45 or 50% of Lake Central scoring that year. So defenses were face guarding him, double teaming him, and he was still able to score at this efficiency and get that many threes off. It really shows us his overall skill set and his quickness to be able to fire away from deep. Lake Central really used him well as a decoy. A lot of back screens and then popping out. Really got his teammates a lot of easy looks throughout the season. Some of his senior year footage here. This is sectional against Gary Westside, Quamari Peterson, now in a conference foe. Hits that step back three that he did throughout his senior year from deep against McCutcheon was really impressive. That's Draven Ballhorn Gibbs there, number 4 in white, that he was playing against. And he really just controlled this game, just showing off his elite shooting ability as a senior here. Watch this pull up, but no, not pull up. Yeah, when he's open, it was automatic, same as it is now. And then you see that range that he's shown off throughout his collegiate career here, pulling up from behind the volleyball line. You just don't see high school players being able to do this very often. Despite his incredible senior year, it was mostly D3 schools that recruited him. Wabash, Trine, Holy Cross really recruited him hard. Bethel jumped in there hard. I believe Tiffin ended up offering him, D2 Tiffin, after his senior year. Indiana State, Lipscomb, and Furman were the D1s on him. Nobody ended up offering him. Furman's Jeremy Grove really watched him a lot through tape, just never could get over to Lake Central to see him in person. Then COVID-19 happens, halts all the air traffic and in-person stuff. So that slowed down Nick Anderson's recruitment a little bit after the season, because I think he could have picked up some D1 offers there. Ends up going to Barry University, the D2 down in Florida, over the D3 options. At Barry, he got off to a bit of a slow start because that 2021 season, Barry only played 7 games due to COVID-19. Anderson only scored 5.7 points per game and shot, I believe, 30-something% from 3, so definitely uncharacteristic start for him. But his sophomore year is where things really clicked into gear for him. 11.8 points per game on 45% from 3, and that was on 173-point attempts. So it started showing that he was an elite shooter. What he did in high school was not a fluke, and he was doing it in a really good D2 league down in Florida. Junior year, got off to a really hot start, hit a little bit of a mid-season slump, but ended up averaging 13 points a game on 44.5% from 3. That was 155 3-point attempts. So, really adding confidence to his 3-point ability. Then as a senior in the 23-24 season, really stepped up. 17 points a game, 42% on 239 threes. Barry had a few injuries, and Anderson really had to take over, and he carried them. Almost pulled a major upset in the conference tournament against overall #1 Nova Southeastern thanks to Anderson, but came up just a little bit short. So they did miss the D2 NCAA tournament. After the season, he was still thinking about coming back to Berry for his 5th year, but he knew he was going to have a ton of D1 options, so he decided to test the portal out, and a whole bunch of low to mid D1s came calling. East Tennessee State, Indiana State, Oakland, Lipscomb, Chattanooga, Western Michigan, Wilmington. The list kind of just keeps going on and on. But he ends up going to Furman for the fit, and his connection dating back to high school with Jeremy Groh, who recruited him out of high school, just never offered. Groh finally gets him to commit to Furman out of the transfer portal. Thought it was a really good fit for the way Anderson plays, the way Furman plays, how they could use him, and it's ended up being a pretty good relationship there. Bob Ritchie has really built Furman into a really good low to mid major program. Made the tournament 2 years ago. His first really bump in the road last year, where they only went 17 and 15, I believe, somewhere in that range. But they've obviously rebounded well this year. Had a great non-conference, 17-5 overall. Now 5-4 in the conference. So they do need to keep winning conference games to have a good seed into the conference tournament, as it will, even though it's a really good league, it will only be a 1-bid league. So whoever wins it gets to go to the NCAA tournament. And on how Anderson's doing overall this season for Furman, he is their second leading scorer at 13.2 points per game. Started all 22 games for them. Shooting 38.9% from 3 on 6.5 attempts per game. So still a high volume, high percentage shooter, and that has translated very well. Also shooting 87% from the free throw line. So if you do foul him, it is automatic. Looking through some of these threes, it's a lot of the same stuff that we saw against Samford. Coming off a handoff and being able to catch and fire basically in one motion. Again, you just don't see college players even being able to do this very often, especially with this type of accuracy. And Anderson has great range and quick release with fantastic accuracy. He has shown that all season, making the jump from the D2 level. As we saw against Samford, he runs the floor well and gets to a spot and can fire in a heartbeat. See this against ETSU right before the first half buzzer, sprints the floor, catches and fires and buries it, just giving Furman a little momentum going into halftime. Here's a flare for Anderson, showing again he can move, catch, and fire all in one motion and do it extremely well. It's just so impressive watching him shoot the ball in any situation, off the dribble, off the catch, off the screen, sprinting into it on the transition. Really, really fun. When you think of a elite shooter, you have to think of a player like Nick Anderson. Here's another one. Baseline out of bounds, comes off the screen, catches, fires, gets a roll against Greensboro. Another transition opportunity here for Anderson against West Carolina. Sprints the floor, catches, shoots, fires, buries it. Here's a pin down, wide open. Anderson's not going to miss that very often, and he gets it to go there. Keeping it with West Carolina here. Another handoff, coming to his left, catches, fires. I mean, decent defense there by West Carolina. If he can get over it just a hair quicker maybe, but Anderson just needs a sliver of space, and he buries it from about NBA range. So really, really proving that he is one of the best shooters in the country, regardless of division. And as I mentioned, a really good two-point shooter as well. A lot of cuts to the basket, very, very good in the mid-range. probably one of the best mid-range shooters in the country. One, he's selective with his mid-range shots, but he buries them when he does get them. Here's one against the Citadel. Gets into the lane, a little floater action, and he gets it to go. I believe he's shooting 55% on the year against D1 teams in the mid-range. So he's not a shooter that you can just run off the three-point line and you're good to go. He is very, very efficient in the mid-range. Here's another one. Curls around, pull up, outside the elbow, drills it against Greensboro there. Here's another one against Florida Gulf Coast. This is more of a floater, pull up outside the lane, drills it. So again, you can't just chase him off the three-point line and expect your job to be done against Nick Anderson. Against Seattle U here, a shot fake, get into the lane, stop and pop, buries it. A lot of people think these are easy shots, but most people shoot about 40% on them, and Anderson's shooting 55%. So very, 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 very effective shooter in the mid-range. Overall, Furman has lost in each of Anderson's worst 3 games of the season. Kansas, obviously, they're not going to beat Kansas very often, especially on the road. Greensboro and VMI. Anderson struggled in each of those 3 games, and Furman, kind of followed suit and lost each of those 3 games. And so it kind of proves how valuable Anderson is. When Anderson plays well, they're going to beat great teams. They're going to beat a Sanford. They're going to beat East Tennessee State. They're going to beat Belmont. But if he struggles, it's a close game against South Carolina State, who's not very good, and then you lose to Greensboro by a wide margin, and you lose to a struggling BMI team because Anderson goes 1 of 9 from 3. So Furman really needs Anderson to play well to, beat good teams and avoid bad losses. Speaking of the conference, the Southern Conference is very, very strong this year. A lot of fun teams to watch, like Sanford, Greensboro, Chattanooga, East Tennessee, Wofford, and then Furman as well. I think each one of those 6 teams has a very good chance of winning the conference tournament and getting to the NCAA tournament. Obviously, Bucky McMillan's Sanford team is looking to go back to the NCAA tournament for the 2nd straight year. He has a really good program going down there. But like I said, Anderson plays well. Furman could get in there. Quamari Peterson's been one of the best players in the country for East Tennessee State. He could get them into the NCAA tournament, and the list just keeps going on, and it'll be fun to watch that conference tournament, see how it plays out. Let's say Furman does get into the NCAA tournament. Anderson plays well in the conference tournament. They get on a big stage. Anderson could turn into a Jack Gohlke type of player who, put Oakland on his back last year against Kentucky and just had a Cinderella run with his shooting. Anderson could be that type of player. He doesn't create as much off the dribble as Gohlke for 3 especially. But Anderson, could hit 5 or 6 threes in the NCAA tournament and really steal the show for Furman and make a national name for himself. So Nick Anderson has been one of my favorite players to watch just because of his shooting ability throughout his senior year. Tracked him at Barry, and now watching him at Furman excel as a shooter has been really fun. I'm hoping he either gets a few great moments in the conference tournament and gets Furman into the NCAA tournament so he can shine on that big stage. If not, Anderson's going to have the ability to make some money overseas somewhere with his shooting ability. So it'll be fun to watch just how the rest of the season progresses and develops, and then see what he does beyond this year. Once again, thanks for joining me as I go through Indiana natives excelling at the next level, and I hope to see you soon.